You know that feeling of indecision that you carry through your day as it was your favorite bag? That feeling of not knowing what to do, what to choose, or what to feel. About small things or big things, about everything really. If I choose this, then am I gonna regret that? How can I be 100% sure of my decision? How do I know that I won't be mistaken? All these questions that you may ask yourself every day usually lead to one thing: not doing anything at all. Yes, you are part of us, people who are lost when it comes to knowing what to do in every aspect of your life. You know these decisions that you have to make about starting something new, or even just about choosing between 2 cents of ice cream. But it's not about the small things all the time. We also worry about the bigger picture, asking ourselves the question: what's the purpose of my life? Where does this come from? And why is it so hard to figure out what to do? In this video, I'm going to talk about the fear of not knowing, and more specifically, the fear of choosing. So there are 3 things that stop you from doing anything: comparison, self-esteem, and fear. So let's talk about these 3 topics, and at the end of the video I will share how I overcome the indecision, as this is something that I deal with pretty much all the time. Comparison causing lack of confidence. We actually compare ourselves all the time. It's part of our human mechanism. For example, when I see a girl who looks like me, seems to be my age, have the same style, height, I will instantly compare myself to her. It can either make me feel inferior because I judge that she looks better than me, or be a motivation for me to step up my game. So as I just said, this comparison can be a motivation to push our limits and be an inspiration to grow, but sometimes it can be devastating, making us feel inferior, and that leads to a lack of confidence and inaction. Here's this quote that sums it up: comparing ourselves to others allows them to drive our behavior. It is actually letting others have a sense of control over you, your thoughts, and as a result, your actions. It's also letting others have a sense of power over how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, and how you act. Or in our case, don't act. Because when you compare yourself to someone, you generally put that person on a pedestal, saying things like, "she's better than me, it's obvious." You're making your thought of the situation the truth, and that obviousness makes it nearly impossible for another thought to come up, such as, for example, "is she really better than me, or is it just the way I see myself?" And that is when self-confidence enters the game. Self-esteem, knowing your worth. Before jumping right into anything in life really, you must learn to love yourself regardless of anything you may hear or see on social media. Because this self-love is the key to all the doors of your mind, your thoughts, and your actions. You have to put your confidence in yourself first, your abilities to do something, and you'll be able to achieve a million things. Here's an example to understand it better. When I was in high school, I used to wear a black eyeliner every day. And when I think about it now, it was more of a way for me to hide behind something and cover the features that I didn't like about myself, rather than express myself and feel beautiful. I wasn't confident with what I saw in the mirror, so I used that eyeliner as a protection from the outside world for it not to see these eyes that I didn't like. And the fact that it was actually the contrary, I was emphasizing my eyes with that eyeliner, but that's a whole different story. What I want to say with all this is, once you forget the assumptions that you have about yourself, like my eyes are too small, or I can't write a poem, or my drawing skills are shitty. When you forget that, you let go of that feeling of insufficiency that you may have about yourself or what you're doing, and you finally start to grow from the inside. So now that you don't care about what other people may think of you, you feel confident with yourself and the things you want or can do. There's this tiny little piece of the puzzle that we all come across in our lives. Fear, the enemy of motivation. The only thing that stops us from doing or getting what we want is resistance. It's our subconscious mind telling us that we can't do something. You know, when you keep telling yourself that you don't deserve something, people like me don't do this or get things like this. And it's the same thing when you doubt and ask yourself the question that I asked at the beginning of the video, what's the purpose of my life? You can actually see that question from another angle. Will I have a sense of relief knowing what's the purpose of my life? Or will it actually make me feel even more lost than before? Suddenly seeing the mountain that I have to climb appearing right in front of me. So we keep on worrying as there was only one solution, one path that we have to take. But let's assume that once you take that path you've been worrying so much about, there will be no turning back, as if you were trapped in the thought of all the other paths that you might have taken. Wouldn't it be scary as well? If you really want to do something or dream about doing something, you should just do it, or at least start. And don't wait for motivation to come down to you, because it won't. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about motivation, waiting for it. Your unmotivation is there because you keep feeding it, and motivation comes after actually starting something. It is the fuel, the excitement you get once you start that thing. So when fear comes in, ask yourself this question. I know there's a lot of questions, but that's the way it works for me. Am I observing the situation, or am I translating my emotions into what's going on? And trust me, this helps 100% of the time. So how to overcome all the things I said? Take a time to reflect on what you call issues and then take action. Always take that little time to step back and ask yourself, because it's actually good to stop what you're doing for a while and take time to reflect. You don't have to rush in taking a decision, because once you do that tiny little move back in your head and in the path you're taking, it will open so much more solutions and alternatives that you can imagine. Making a choice is letting go of something. As I said at the beginning of the video, even choosing between 2 cents of ice cream can be overwhelming for some people. But what I learned is that letting go is not necessarily a bad thing. Make a decision, no matter what that decision is. And once it's made, make things work by consciously going one step at a time. And above all, trust the process and trust yourself. And if you still don't know, take a deep breath and go. Do it. Life is just a game, right? If you enjoyed that video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.